And hey, I'm back. Welcome to another episode of Out of the Darkness and Into the Light. I'm your host. You know my name. This is going to be another outside shot. I didn't come outside this morning to do my outside shot. I was busy, plus it rained a little bit. But we're out here in nature. We're out here in natural. Say hi to nature. Hi, nature. We out here with natural. Hi, natural. Natural's looking better every day. She's looking beautiful every day. The more and more I see natural, she's competing with nature. She's competing with nature. This is such a beautiful day. Even though it rained today, it's still a beautiful day. And it's a great day to be alive. That's one of my songs. Great day to be alive. Look it up on Reverb Nation. Great day to be alive. It's an instrumental. I'm going to do a video for it, but it's a great day to be alive. We know a lot of people that aren't alive today. They used to be. Now they're just memories. Hold on for a second. I was sitting out here the other day, or the other night rather, and it hadn't rained in a couple of days, and so about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I came outside to take a smoke break. Yeah, I know smoking is bad for you, but so is a lot of stuff we partake of. But moving right along, I was sitting out here taking my smoke break after it rained, and went back inside. Immediately when I went back inside, I started feeling something in my throat, and I said, the day before, no, earlier that day, I could see a bunch of chemtrails just shooting over here, and they always like to shoot them across the sun. They make sure they go across the sun at about 4:30 in the evening. And I saw the chemtrails, and I've gotten used to seeing them. I've been seeing them now for over 40 years or so. And so I went inside, and I felt this funny feeling in my throat. The very next day, I started getting congestion up here, and the sinuses was bothering me, and the nose was stopped up, and so I took some hydrogen peroxide, and I kind of took some Q-tips and swabbed the inside of my nostrils, and then I took a little alcohol and swabbed inside there, and then I took another Q-tip and just kind of uh, went through to clean it up, and that helped open up my sinuses. And so then after then, I didn't have the sinus problem, but then I started getting a sinus drip. That's when your nose is running and you go. You try to blow it, it ain't nothing there. I know you've experienced that too. So anyway, I'm working it through I'm recognizing at which phase is going through my body, my system. So I recognized it was up here. Didn't really get any headaches, but I started getting the sinus effects, and then it started going down to the back of my throat, and then it went from the back of my throat because I started just sucking on some lozenges, some throat lozenges, and that helped to work it down to this part of my throat where it initiated from. And so now I done worked it out of there, and now it's in the bronchial cavity, and that's the last place that it remains. And then you, of course, you cough and you spit it out. So that's what you should do. And it don't look pretty, but that's what you're supposed to do because that says that's the last phase of that particular, as they want to call it, cold front. We're gonna have a cold front. It's gonna flood through your nostrils. But anyway, I'm feeling a whole lot better today. It didn't make me feel bad too. That was the other thing. It didn't make me. It didn't give me a disposition of feeling bad or anything like that. It was just that my system was recognizing all the various stages that you go through when you get a cold or a head cold. Not like the flu or anything. Didn't have the chills, but just had them symptoms, Just had those symptoms. But That just goes to show that in a lot of cases, well, I would say in the majority of the cases, when it comes to colds and flus and things like that, one is environmental because they're messing with the environment. See, when I was in the military, we learned that, see, at night, what is it called? Chem warfare, chemical warfare. So in the evenings, the airplanes take a particular elevation and they fly at that elevation and they drop whatever chemical that they want up in the atmosphere. And I guess because I'm just taking a hypothesis on this, but I guess because of the altitude, it tends to linger up there longer. But as the sun tends to go down, and then the temperature seems to drop, so does these chemicals seem to drop. And then once they drop, where are they dropping or where are they falling to? They're falling on the foliage, they're falling on the trees, they're falling in the grass, they're falling in nature, they're falling in natural nasty dogs. And so then, like today, it's kind of windy, see? It's kind of windy. So the wind helps to spread it, just like pollen. Pollen, just like pollen. Then it's in the grass, so we walk in the grass and we kick it up, stir it up like dust. And then it gets in our clothes, it gets in our nose, and our body is designed with this warning system, which is your nose and the hair follicles in the nose, and that's why you sneeze. Your nose has detected that you've breathed in something that shouldn't make it into the inside, so it makes you sneeze to blow that out. And so and of course after you sneeze, they're gonna say, "God bless you." Good indeed. Hooty hoo. Carrying on the tradition of saying, "God bless you." You know the tradition of. Do you know the tradition of saying "God bless you" came after? And this is what I read, so don't get mad at me. Use your AI. Use your AI. And ask it the question about the origin of saying "God bless you" after you sneeze. I never did it. Ask the AI, that is. I used to say, "Oh, God bless you," and people say, "God bless you." You go, "Thank you," but we never knew the origin of it. So I think I was in my late 20s when I was researching. I do a lot of research. Whoa, boy, I do a lot of research. I got a lot of research stored up here in my heaven, my heart. But anyway, so it said that during the era where they had the bubonic plague, they found out the bubonic plague was caused by fleas that were on rats who had, maybe it was rabies, and yeah, I think it was rabies. I have to follow up on this one though, but I'm sure that's what it was. And so it said that all before they discovered that's where the sickness came from, the Black Plague. What was I saying? Yeah. So before they discovered what the cause of the Black Plague was, people were dying left and right. But then when they discovered that it was coming from the rats and the fleas of the rats, and the rats was infectious, then they found a cure for them. One, burn them. Then they called in Pied Piper. They called it. Pied Piper was another word for the exterminator, so they exterminated them. Oh, I'm still at it. This is crazy as hell. But anyway, they exterminated the rats. And because they knew the cause, anytime someone sneezed, they said, God bless you. And they were saying, God bless you, saying, hopefully you ain't got that damn plague, because we're going to kick you out the village. That's probably that's what I would have said. Hey, what you doing sneezing? God bless you. I'm going to check on you tomorrow. Sneeze again, see what happens. You're gonna be like Lot's wife. You're gonna look back and turn into a pillar of salt. You go by yourself looking back. Waving to the village. Well, y'all, it was just a sneeze. It's allergies. Allergy your ass on out past the gate. It was pollen. It's pollen, all right. You pollen your ass right on back over there across the river. Oh Lord. And I guess it happened in Germany too, because the Germans go, Gesundheit. Oh, what the fuck? What's up, cousin? We in church. Don't cuss, Pastor. Oh Lord. Oh, there they go. There's the sun. See, they always make them go across the sun. We sped up the so-called daylight saving time. So technically, it's around about 4:30 time they would do that. Here, it's about 4:30. Look. Now you see how they're spreading out to become clouds. And they like to do it when there's other clouds around, because that'll mix with the clouds. And they're predicting a storm here. So I've experienced it where there was just these real white cumulus clouds, and once they passed over the chemtrail, they became storm clouds, and it rained so hard that time. I was living in Florida, working for a company, Cargill, and I was actually talking to one of the workers about chemtrails, and then I was waiting for this tanker truck to deliver the olive oil and put it in this big tank reserve that we had. And so I was telling him, I said, okay, now that's a chemtrail. And he said, no, that's just that's a calm trail. It's just from a jet. It's from an airplane. So after I slapped him a few times. It's a chemtrail. It's a chem. But anyway, I asked him this one simple question, and you can ask yourself the same question. I used to love to go sit at the airport. There's an observation area at the airport where you're situated close to the runway where the airplanes take off and where they land. And I used to like to see them do both, take off and land. As a matter of fact, I had two friends who had airplanes, and they weren't the big things. They were the smaller planes, about as big as a small car. Cherokee Piper and Grumman, those two planes, and sitting up in the cockpit with them flying and everything, and he let me fly like I was really doing something. He got us off the ground, and then, hey, you want to fly now? Hey, yeah, sure. It's the two steering wheel apparatus. He got a steering wheel, you got a steering wheel. Okay, you take over. Ooh, I'm flying. I was excited. But anyway. So we're talking about being in the observation platform or the area at the airport, and I was telling this one particular guy, I said, so when you see airplanes take off, do you ever watch airplanes take off at the airport? He goes, oh yeah, sure. I said, and after they take off, do you ever see like a contrail behind it? He said, no. I said, okay. Have you ever seen the jets fly? And he said, yeah. I said, now, I do know some jets that have a contrail, but that's for entertainment purposes, and that was the Blue Angels, because when I was a kid, I was staying with my dad in Pensacola, Florida, and he was stationed at the Navy Air Station in Pensacola, Florida, the home of the Blue Angels. And so they used to have air shows there all the time. But they would make the chemtrail have different colors and things like that. So when you see them do their maneuvers, you know, it draws attention to, you can look at them do their maneuvers. And so I think that was the beginning of just getting us comfortable with even seeing the chemtrails doing stuff like that, you know, doing the aerodynamics with the planes and then releasing the chemtrail. But these chemtrails is full of chemicals. And if you notice, if you look at any chemtrail, it, depending on how high the plane is, it'll be a real thin white line, but it's always going to start spreading out, looking like a cloud, so it can blend in with the clouds. And so, I don't know why I got on that tangent, but oh, I did because of talking about the coming outside, smoking a cigarette, and feeling the discomfort in my throat. So anyway, I love being outside, and I love being outside here with nature, with natural. And it's really nice and windy out here. It feels good. Feels good. I'm gonna go inside and do my inside shot from the studio of Bell Enterprises Studios, music production out of the darkness and into the light. And so I'm not sure what we're going to talk about today. We're in this so-called war with Iran, and I heard something today that sounded like okay. Anyway, what was said was, if they don't open up the Strait of Hamas, we're going to continue to bomb them or something like that. So I'm saying, you initiated an unprovoked war against us. We have a entry into our land that leads to where we do a lot of oil production, shipping oil in and out. You want us to just open it up so you can just come blow it up and take over it, and then we don't produce oil. That's what you want us to do? I thought this was a war. This ain't a corporate hostile takeover. Well, it probably is in disguise. And then the other statement that I heard, which was like, as a reporter, I think I would have kicked him out of the, oh, you forgot your parachute. Not. But anyway, to make a statement that if our other allies and the United Nations don't encourage them to participate, you know, we should dismantle them, and anybody that don't help. It's like, hold up, wait a minute. We started the shit. Now we want somebody else to continue to join in with us to be a bully against somebody who really didn't do nothing to us. Tell you the truth. You ain't never, before this even took place, you never heard nothing about them trying to sneak into America. If we're the most world's powerful country, nobody doing that as a country. They may do it as individuals. That's why y'all call them terrorists. But the whole country? No. We would have heard about it more, and we would have had more details and information about it than now. We can't even get no details and information now. I thought you was the leader of the free world. That don't sound like the leader of a free world to me. That sounds like somebody up to something and don't want nobody to do anything about it. It reminds me of the time when my daughter was little, and I used to bake cookies. I used to bake cookies with her, and I'd go to the store and get those logs of cookies from the company was Pillsbury, and then you cut them up, and you cut them up in little. You cut them up. You first cut the logs. You cut them up in pieces, and then you cut them into quarters, and then you sit them on the cookie tray and cook the cookies. So you got an idea what I'm talking about, right? Well, maybe not the new generation, because y'all don't even cook. Y'all just y'all radioactive radiation walking. Oh Lord. Go in your room at night, you glowing in the dark. You like a nightlight. Everything, everything's from the mic. Even the fast food restaurants, they ain't innocent. They supposed to be cooking your stuff fresh. They'll throw it in. They'll pre-cook everything and then throw it in, especially the meat. They'll throw it in the microwave. Hurry up! The line is long outside for the drive-through. Give them their radiation. They're getting mad. They're blowing the horn. They need their radiation. All right. I'm going to put you back on fries. But, look. Okay, so you asked the question. What am I looking? What am I looking at? I don't see no lizard up in the sky. No. Remember I told you when the chemtrails come and they go over the white clouds, then they turn gray. If you don't believe me, you go outside and make the same observation yourself, and then you can join me in the man. That guy crazy. It'll be man. Those guys are crazy. But we're telling the truth. And a lot of times, to get away with telling the truth, you just got to accept stigmatism. Oh, yeah, I'm crazy, but I'm telling the truth. Get it? They don't bother you no more. Oh, hell, he crazy. And man, the sun has disappeared. That's a shame. I was also telling someone, I said, I grew up as a kid back in the 70s. I was born in the 60s, so I grew up in the 70s. And you know what? The weatherman could not predict the weather to save his damn. If his life was being threatened and they said, predict the weather for tomorrow or you get shot. Boy, the graveyard would be full of weathermen because they couldn't predict the weather for shit. And you know what? You can't predict the weather. You can look outside and see weather patterns and assume because the last weather pattern did a particular thing and that's what the weatherman did back in the 70s. But I was looking at the news in the morning. I really don't like watching the news because it's just bad news, and it's information from the north, east, west, and south. And once you look at it, you scramble the word news, and it spells SEWN. All that negativity gets sown into your consciousness, your subconsciousness, because your subconscious is the one that's taking notes. Your consciousness is just paying attention to what you see, but your subconscious is recording everything you see, hear, and say. And so he's watching the news, and they did whatever their call letter was. This is the morning news at WWWW. With our live news team and correspondents on the spot, peanut butter jelly, and our accurate weather forecast by Houdini. You might as well say it. And then the Houdini comes out and he goes, the weather in the north it's gonna be stormy, and there's gonna be a chance of precipitation. Precipitation? What is that? Bag potato chips or something? Potato? Potato? What the hell? Potassium, sodium chloride. Yeah. And on the north, and then over here, and then it actually happens. You go, what the hell? They grew from predicting the weather and being a meteorologist in the 70s. They actually predicted the weather. And so then they'll say, hey, let's look at that future forecast. You can predict the weather for the future too? Shit, what is the winning lottery numbers? I deserve to hit the lottery. Tell me them too. Why are you predicting the weather of the future? You could kiss my Uncle Charlie horse. You can, yeah, okay. You know what? I was born yesterday. I fell right out that tree. That one right there. I was at the highest point. I had to wear a neck brace for 2 weeks yesterday from falling out that tree. Then they put a bottle in my mouth. Oh, that's my friend. Hey, little buddy. He disappeared. I sure hope you could see him. Where'd he go? Am I aiming at him? Probably not. Probably not. He's somewhere right there. He's somewhere over there. There he is, right there by that fern leaf. Can you see him? Shoot. Hold on. Let's see if we can do it like this. No, it never lets me turn the camera around. That's strange. It used to be able to